All right, so we're back here, Couch Coaches. Once again, we're back here on another Couch Coach Live, another Tuesday here. Got my guys in the building. What's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? Another week, another week.
Yes, indeed.
What's going on with
Maintaining.
you?
Good, man. Just another week, just maintaining,
Right.
chilling, just working and, doing what I got to do. And
Hey, you haven't done no weird Facebook lives with some guests or anything, have you?
no, I have not.
Mm.
Hey, I mean, interesting to say the least. That would be. I tell you one thing. I thank goodness that of my age and the advent of IG Live
Right.
that I would, maybe 10, 15 years ago as a precocious 20 something, I
Right.
probably would have done something of that nature. And we'll definitely talk about that with that shot to Uncle P. And I got our
Right.
guest in the building. What's going on, Josh?
Nothing much, nothing much. We actually have you on this Friday, Irish Mindset. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yes,
Mm.
indeed. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Give you a little UNC injection, partic- per se, and a little ACC action going on. Definitely appreciate the invite and definitely be there on Friday. Definitely looking forward to it as well.
For sure.
Yeah, fellas, man, let's talk about this national championship last night. Oh my God! So Baylor did win the national championship last night. Gonzaga was so tantalizing close from history. They lost 86. Well, Baylor won 86-70. Actually, shout out to Jared Butler, the MOP. 20 points was not 20 points, but I think he had 22 or whatever. But definitely shout out to Jared Butler and the Baylor Bears, man. So I'm gonna go around the horn. I'm gonna go with you first, Josh. Your thoughts on this game?
First of all, I thought I swept both my brackets, and then Regan's Corner, my friend just happened to have Baylor, and it was close enough where it bit me. But before COVID and stuff like that, I had Baylor beating Gonzaga. But after the two losses, I thought Gonzaga was just unbeatable, and I thought they would do it in Indiana, to break the Indiana thing. And
Yeah.
I just think the pressure got to them. And
Yeah.
I just think the last game, Suggs just happened to have this Hail Mary kind of shot from 40, which I think you could just jump shot at it. But anyway, I mean, it took a little bit away from them, and I think it showed during the game. It didn't come out like they had the same tendency as Baylor. Baylor just absolutely muscled them, and that's the key of the game. I mean,
Mm.
defensively, just dominated.
Right. Every which way.
Absolutely. Maui, your thoughts?
Man, like you got almost every player that was on the floor can dribble the ball down. The bigs did get in foul trouble, and then Gonzaga jumped in that zone. But to be honest with you, man, like these boys were just knocking their shots down. You know what I mean? And I still think it was some pressure and some nerves. Also, I don't think, no disrespect to Timmy. I think getting in foul trouble, he may have pulled back just a little bit because he seemed like he turned it up even a little bit more in the second half. But every time they felt like they made a run, here come Butler. You know what I mean? Here come Butler knocking down three. Here go Teague. You know what I mean? It was real, just straight dominance. The way, if you feel like you're the better team, and I'm also, shout out to their coach, it just seemed like they were more calm than Gonzaga was. It felt like you really could see that, like even to the point where like Timmy was getting stretched out on the side. You know what I mean? It was just like might have been some extreme anxiety and nerves there where it just seemed like Baylor was just calm and we got this. Let's just keep playing together. Let's keep cutting. Don't worry about it. I'm a knock down this 3-pointer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how I felt. And I feel like when you trying to really say, hey man, I'm supposed to be here and I want to win a championship, you gotta step up. And I feel like the whole team, Baylor stepped up,
Yeah, it was interesting. This game was funny because we did like a pregame show, and it was so funny, like how what we thought was going to happen it was a total inverse of what was going to happen because one of the keys we were like, well, if Timmy gets in foul trouble, but lo and behold, Jalen Suggs get in foul trouble in the beginning, so that definitely kind of set the tone. We didn't think Baylor was going to jump off to that 11-1 lead to start the game, and I figured Gonzaga was going to come back. But Baylor, like you said, kept on hitting their shots and they kept on getting that momentum and getting that all squared away. But Baylor, it was such a great, like what Baylor did last night was phenomenal, and definitely kudos to Scott Drew and the guys. What's funny about that game because it's funny we talked about Saturday game against UCLA and how we looked at that as probably one of the greatest games that we've seen, and I thought if Gonzaga would have won, that would have made that game a little bit more. It would have added to the mystique. And now thinking about it in theory, where essentially that game on Saturday essentially was like their championship. I mean, when you sit down and you think about it, and Gonzaga, and that's one thing too. That was the beauty about sports. Like it's only a handful of people that had Baylor winning this game. Like honestly, and everybody figured they were going, go for that 32-0, and that's the beauty of sports. Where one night, especially the NCAA tournament, you get one night and you're done. You had one bad night and you're done. So definitely huge shout out to Baylor, man, and definitely with that squared away. What is that?
What?
A washing machine or something.
Yeah, my bad.
So yeah,
I'm gonna say I really I just felt like, not saying that Gonzaga coach didn't have them prepared. I just really felt like Baylor was zoned in every which way. You know what I mean? They just seemed like they was there. They had so many weapons. Even when they big men got in foul trouble, they still figured it out. You know what I mean? They just figured out a way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even I thought the officiating was horrible. I thought the officiating was horrible in that game, but they still played through it. And I think that's mentally what you have to do when you just feel like there's officiating going your way. You got to fight through it. You know what I mean? You can't argue. You can't get so emotional. So congratulations to Baylor. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Scott Drew just had it going with his roster, with a program, especially after 18 years. And I think I've told you guys this before with Baylor. With all the bad luck in the tournament, it just seemed like it was their year. And it was.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I would have picked my first pick, Baylor, when I was going into making the brackets and stuff like that. But I got swept up with the Gonzaga hype, in which I was wrong, like a lot of us were. But yeah.
I mean, they. I'm sorry, man. They. No, there's nothing wrong with getting Gonzaga. They was all right, man. For real. I just think that because they were the number one team, man, and you have that pressure on you, everybody's itching for you. Everybody's itching for you. You know what I'm saying? My bad, Chris.
You good? And it's funny. I'm like, I was like you, Josh. Where part of me, I wanted to say, when everybody was saying Gonzaga versus the field, I kept on saying the field because. And like I said, I'm like you. I talked myself out of it because the biggest argument was where they've been down this road before, and obviously with Carolina beating them, so 4 years ago. But they've been down this road where they were in this spot and just fell short. But then the part of me is like, well, this is the best Gonzaga team they've ever had. They never had a 5-star freshman, a lottery pick. Well, besides Adam Morrison, but a legit lottery pick. I don't even know Adam Morrison. I don't know if he was a lottery pick. If my memory serves correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was by that, and then also with Kispert, and then also Timmy. So part of you thought to yourself, okay, well, they've been dominant because I remember obviously the UVA game, and that to me was kind of the eye opener for me because at that time, UVA, I viewed UVA in a different manner. I figured they were going to kind of be like a top 10 team at that particular time. I thought they were going to be a better team than what they were. And so I looked at that. It was like, well, then, just during the course of the season, they just kept on winning. And then the tournament kind of scared me too, because a part of me is like, Yeah, I figured, as far as all those blowouts, like Norfolk State, Creighton, and just going down that line, and I thought to myself, well, this team hasn't been battle tested in this tournament. They haven't what I call what Coach K usually will always say. In order for you to win a game, win a tournament in a sense, you have to win a game that you're supposed to lose. And UCLA was the perfect game to say that, hey, Gonzaga should have lost that game, but. So I figured that was going to help propel them in this game because they needed something of that nature. But obviously, they didn't, and they fell very, very short of that.
Right, they sure did. How they lost was very similar to how UConn lost in their game against Arizona. Yeah, it's just, it's honestly poetic that Suggs and Becker has such a good relationship because they lost the exact same way. The other two teams were underdogs against them, and they led basically the whole game by 10, and that's how they both lost.
Yeah, and very much so, and it's a trip, and hey, great season for Gonzaga, but even better season for Baylor. And and definitely huge shout out to that program, man. They definitely needed this because it's been a long time coming for this team. So next topic I want to discuss, fellas. There's a new sheriff in town in Chapel Hill, man. So obviously the news that everyone knows at this point that Roy Williams has retired, and Hubert Davis takes over the greatest job in college basketball. So I'm gonna go at your first. Your thoughts, Josh. Your thoughts on Hubert Davis at UNC?
I think it's just like we talked about. They're gonna hire within, and I feel like this was just a copycat move that North Carolina did because Indiana did the same thing with hiring Woodson. Memphis did it with Hardaway. The shocking one that come from the coach and hire was Porter Moses going to Oklahoma. That was the shocker. This was just pretty much what you expect.
Yeah, potentially. Maui, your thoughts?
For me, congrats, man. You know what I'm saying? I unless your school is just horrible, and if they are legendary of getting championships and always one of the top teams, I don't really have too much of a problem with you hiring, basically somebody that was on the bench. You know what I mean? Truth be told, that's great even for the students that's there. You know what I mean? Because we'll talk about that probably a little later because the show that I'm watching. But congrats to Hubert Davis. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those names, great career. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of cool. I'm happy that I see some of the things that the NCAA is doing is starting to be a lot of color. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just think that's great, man. Opportunities, man. You know what I'm saying? There's big opportunities.
Sure. Yeah, and it's funny because that was the first name I thought about when Roy retired on April Fool's Day out of all days, which was kind of bizarre, but that's for another time. And that's the first thing. And a lot of people were saying, "Oh no, not Hubert," but I'm no, he deserves it. He's been on the bench for 9 years, and and almost to Josh's point, this is what Carolina does. I mean, essentially, when you look at just down the line from Dean Smith to present day, they hire their guys, and that's what that's what it's supposed to be. I mean, more so than anything. I mean, you look at just like when Dean Smith retired, Coach Guthridge comes, then he leaves. Well, he retires. Well, Dean Smith retires, and then Coach Guthridge came in. Then he retired. Then Matt Doherty came, and then Roy Williams came back from Kansas, and then his prize assistant Hubert Davis goes to fold.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I think he's great, and it was cool to hear Roy Williams talk about Hubert Davis, and it was just a great moment to hear him talk about him in such a great light. Like he said, it was funny how and to me, if you were I put it this way, if you were unsold about Hubert Davis, you definitely got to hear what Roy Williams had to say about him. He was just saying how you know, how him and Dean Smith went to his house, you know, when he was, you know, they was recruiting him, and they say they're not sure if he was gonna get any playing time. He said, "Well, hey, I'm just gonna take that chance." And Roy just said, "Hey, he's been an overachiever ever since. He's overachieved at UNC. He overachieved to a point where he was a first round draft pick in the NBA, been in the league for 12 years, and then also being assistant at Carolina for 9. So, it's a smooth transition. I definitely hope that this sticks. Definitely hope that he will be here for the long haul. Which this is the prize job, you know, and hopefully everybody will support him and love him and support him, because like to me, he's a perfect man for the job. I know we did a show on Friday, and we talked about different scenarios, because we, you know, if they were to hire with, you know, outside of the Carolina family, a lot of names was tossed out. But you know, the great thing about this situation, they hire within. This hopefully helps, and you know, the first thing that Hubert want to do, he want to bring back Kessler. So I hope he does it, because we definitely need him. So,
I think that I see we're still dealing with young men, and you know what I'm saying, and young athletes. So unless your schools is just horrible, you know what I mean, or unless the person, the assistant should be, one of the assistants should be the first choice. And if he wants to just stay being the assistant or whatever, then you can go outside. But I don't think you should always do that. I think you should always think of the program and think of the athletes that you have. You know what I mean? Because a parent, you know what I mean? That's just how I feel, you know?
But I'm actually loving how they're doing these, as far as these alums, like even Mike Woodson going to Indiana this year. And then also we talked about like Penny at Memphis, Patrick Ewing at Georgetown. All these guys are essentially like almost like a homecoming. And you know, also obviously Juwan Howard at Michigan. All these, you know, quote unquote blue blood programs are actually hiring alums in a sense. Well, outside of Carolina, obviously, because they're known for that. But I'm loving that shift, because like you said, it's relative, where you see those guys, because you know, you think about it, if you're going through some stuff, like say for instance you're a freshman and you're like homesick, or you're going through some stuff, man, these coaches been what you've been through. It may not have been, you know, 15 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, but they've been around and they understand what you're going through. It's not just you know, so they can tell you, hey, I remember the situation when I felt this way when I was in, you know, 19 years old, just like what you are present day, and they can relate. And definitely, I'm loving this trend in college basketball where they're actually hiring, like, you know, like Juwan is a Michigan man, Hubert is a Carolina guy. He's a Carolina man. I put it that way, not a guy. He's a Carolina man. Mike Woodson is a Hoosier. So yeah.
To your point, I like how they're hiring. And plus, let's go back to Michigan and Indiana. So they're going back to what made them great as programs, especially Indiana. That's probably the best move they could have asked for, other than getting the obvious Brad Stevens. And that may have not worked as great as Woodson may work. But Howard, I think, will be consistently good for Michigan, because the Fat 5 days and stuff like that, and actually getting back to that history, even though with Boeheim and stuff like that, they've been great and they've been relative and Final Fours and stuff like that, but they weren't the Fab 5 program-wise. And now they're getting the Duke and the Kentucky numbers of recruits, and that's good for Michigan, even though it hurts me a little bit because I'm a huge Notre Dame guy. But it's still great for Michigan to have Howard, and for Indiana to have Woodson. It will be better than Archie Miller, I hope, being a guy from Indiana. But yeah, I mean, both programs should be up there every year in the Big Ten, at least.
Yeah. And that's all you really ask for. You at this point, you know, you always want to have a kind of restore to team to its glory, especially Indiana, where essentially they've just been out of the picture for a significant amount of time, almost a generation. You know, when you really sit down and think about it, because you think about if you're a guy and it's, you know, just 20 years old, you wouldn't even know who Bob Knight is, essentially. Right. You know, so, you know, those situations, then like with Michigan and, you know, the whole, you know, Fab Five and bringing that back and all that. So, yeah, man. But, yeah, obviously great hire at UNC. And like you said, a lot of names are floating too, because like Brad Stevens was one of the ones that was rumored. I think he was rumored to every college job, which – and even, you know, it was to a point where it's like, all right, he's almost in what I would have called like almost a Shaka Smart type of situation, where it's like okay, you one foot out the door. Do you want to take the other foot and leave, or you want to just stick it out and just see how the chips fall as they may? But yeah.
Here's a hot take for you. A hot take. I'm going to give Stevens 2 more years at IU before he goes back to Butler.
Honestly, because if Butler come knocking again, he gonna have to, because that'd be the second attempt to get him back.
Because the Hoosiers almost got him this year, and he's, for how good of a coach he is, Boston's kind of saying, hey, you're going to be on the hot seat if you keep doing this with Tatum, who should be an absolute stud and be in the top 5 of the best players in the world conversation.
Yeah.
If he's not already. And he hasn't had the year that he should have. And, I mean, Boston hasn't had the year they should have. So I would say if he has the same year next year, he gets fired and goes back to Butler.
Yeah. Potentially, yeah. Because, I mean, and the thing about him, he's always going to be rumored in coach openings for, you know, as long as he's, you know, as long as he's in Boston, and hell, even if he goes back to a college, go back, you know, to a college team, he's always going to be kind of essentially linked to some job, and that's, you know, you know, all of it. But yeah, it was so many scenarios. I mean, people talk about Mark Few was coming to Carolina. Who was some other kind of not outlandish names, but Brad Stevens, Mark Few, like he would leave to go, you know, he would leave Gonzaga to go to Carolina, and I'm like, man, let's keep this in house, keep this in the family, like we always do, and yeah.
Why would you switch it anyway? Just, you know, they don't have to be they're not one of those schools, man, that you have to say, hey, let's bring a Brad Stevens in. That would have pissed a lot of those Carolina fans off, most likely. You know what I mean? Right.
Right.
But yeah, man. So, Josh, man, where can they find you on social media?
So you can find me on Twitter and YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Regan's Corner, Sports Podcast Network. We have a bunch of good shows coming up. We got Irish Mindset on Friday. We got draft coverage on Saturday. And we're going to be broadcasting some baseball games, high school baseball games. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, once again, man, congratulations on that, man. You know, keep doing your thing with that, man.
Yeah, man, seriously.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate you for coming on tonight. And, man, I'll catch you on the Average Minute on Friday. I'll be on there on Friday,
I'll catch you there, too.
Yeah. Yes, sir. All right, man. We appreciate you.
All right, Jay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Definitely huge shout out to our college insider. I got Josh. So, yeah, man. But, yeah, man. So, as you talked earlier about Paul Pierce.
God.
Okay, well, we talked about Instagram Live. Right. All right, so let's we really have to get through this and we have to be professionals at this point. We're gonna try not to laugh, but I mean it's just going to probably potentially happen. So Paul Pierce, many of you guys, if you were just chilling on at the crack of midnight Eastern Standard Time, right around that time on Saturday morning, Friday night-ish, right around that time period, you would have seen Paul Pierce, a 10-time All-Star, the 2000 and a champion, 2008 Boston Celtics, and actually a analyst for ESPN. So he took to Instagram Live, where he had different things going on. He had strippers in the back. He had a little drink, a little smoke, and it was interesting. And some people was able to kind of see that live, and his employer, ESPN, pretty much said, "Hey man, you're done in this town." So Paul Pierce was fired for that Instagram Live that he posted. So we did get through that. We did get through the read, so we didn't laugh. So kudos to us. We didn't laugh. We stayed professional during the read. Well, some of us did. But Malvin, man, your thoughts on Paul Pierce? On Paul Pierce being out.
First off, I got so many things that's popping in my head, but I was looking around. I said, okay, what's really, really going on? They said he was in some type of contract negotiations anyway, but they also said that he wouldn't have got fired if somebody else would have been filming him. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't know, man. Like, I'm joking, but times are changing. You know what I mean? But I still think in my mind, you got to be smart. You know what I'm saying? You still a celebrity. You still doing, and we have another subject that's going to talk about, when you a celebrity, you still have to be, that's the choice you made to be a celebrity. You know what I mean? And this is the same gentleman who had, I think back in the day, almost died because he went to a club, somebody stabbed him or something like that. You know what I mean? So, I know Paul Pierce is a character. I know he probably, everybody got they things that they do. And, it's funny with social media also, man, people still, it's by now, I remember last year, right? I had to tell people the rules about commenting and trolls and, sometimes don't press send. Because when you press send, you got to deal with what's coming back. When you do a Facebook Live, you got to be careful what you got filming around you. You know what I mean? Because people are watching for the smallest detail. You know what I mean? You might go towards a TV that's off, and through the TV, they'll see something. It might be a shoe or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have to be really, really conscious of these scenarios. Hell, you can't even go, no, I ain't even going to say that because we said we wasn't going to do that. Okay. But you just have to be careful of the decisions you're making. Because seriously, you can't even sometimes go work out or anything. You just have to be careful when you're a celebrity of the decisions you make. You know what I mean? Certain people anyway,
Yeah, absolutely. So we got a special guest in the building. We got our guy JB. Gonna cue him up in here. What's going on, JB?
What's up? Everything's great. Everything's great. The Lakers are a dumpster fire right now. I'm just kidding, Deshaun. But yeah, everything's great.
Okay, I got one for you. You can talk all that mess you want to, but I saw you by that new Space Jam jacket. I seen you on West Broad Street showing with the new Space Jam jacket. I saw you.
Trailer was there.
Yeah, and they got rid of my home skillet. Pepe Le Pew's not even going to be in the movie anymore. I mean, I think he got me too'd.
Hey, man. Pepe Le Pew.
It's a shame in the world.
Player.
Yeah. So JB, what's your thoughts on Paul Pierce out at ESPN?
I mean, I was just like talking to my parents about it like earlier. Like, it's just optics, man. Like, I mean, like, here's my thing, man. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic or whatever, and like, whatever you believe, it's just not a good look, man. Like,
It's not a good look.
it's not a good look, man. And then also the other thing is too, man. Like, look, man, you can do whatever you want to in your own house, but like, why are you recording this and why are you uploading this on social media? Like, I mean, like to me, it's just like he gave like, excuse my language, but it's like he almost gave zero fucks, and that's why he ended up getting, pretty much losing his job. I think that if he would have done it, if he would have been remorseful, I think that he would have kept his job. But even I was reading somewhere that like even like on Sunday or whenever this happened, a few days after this happened, he kind of gave like a shrug emoji, like I don't care. And I mean, like it's a bad look, man. Like honestly, I don't understand like what these athletes and celebrities do sometimes. Like I mean, like there has to be a person that's telling them like, look, man, you should not do this. This is not a good look. So I don't understand why he posted this. I don't understand. It would almost have been better almost if another person had posted this. He could have like backtracked a little bit, but he posted it himself on his Instagram. Just bad optics, man, all around.
Yeah, man, and and Uncle P, it's crazy with Uncle P, but Couch Coach gonna give you some information. He gonna give you advice. If you do dirt in this life, don't go Instagram Live. Keep your phone in your pocket. If you plan on doing something of that nature, I don't care if and everybody keeps making an excuse where he don't, as far as, and not just y'all, but just people have been making an excuse saying where he was out the door anyway. But that doesn't matter anyway. Just because you're out the door doesn't mean that you can just be reckless and just wilding out. You're 43 years old. You literally got fired for ESPN for having 319 live views of you and some scribbles, some drink and some smoke. Over 300, only 319 people watched it live because it was so late at night. Because us in the East Coast, we in bed when Paul Pierce doing his dirt. So it's just like, well, like to me, it just didn't make any sense to me. Like you said, it's optics, where it's almost like I can understand like maybe if somebody in the house did a live and he was just there and he had a cameo appearance, but he was the main character of this Instagram live. It was on his page. And people just saying how like ESPN this, but ESPN has a track record of doing these type of things. They get rid of people for these type of things. So this isn't a situation where he ain't the first one. He won't be the last one. And people saying, oh, if it was somebody else. And I remember somebody in Africa, I think I was watching a YouTube clip of it. And people said, well, if Stephen A. Smith was doing it. No, Stephen A. Smith knows in his right mind, he's not going to mess his bag up. He's not going to do nothing idiotic as that. He probably do dirt, but guess what? He probably keep that cell phone in his pocket. Like I tell people, you do dirt.
And on top of this, man, Paul Pierce ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. Like just
Correct.
Like some of the stuff that he said, like he was saying that he was like LeBron's #1 rival. I'm like, dude, man, like you need to stop it, man. Like I think, man, maybe are we sure he didn't get stabbed in his brain when he got stabbed that time? Oh, bad joke. But like he's like he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So I mean, for if you would have said like. If you would have told me like another person would have done this, I would have been more shocked. But like him, not so shocking.
I was more shocked that he lasted so long. That and being an analyst of where he was at, I was shocked that he had been there for so long. You know what I mean? And it's funny. I don't see him really doing anything else but with the jump, right? That's the only show he's on, right?
Well, he did countdown.
He was.
He done. He done. He can't do any of that.
Yeah, he used to do countdown, but like, I just didn't really like him on there. And you know what? It's crazy, man, because him and Dwayne Wade, they both like retired around the same time. I'd much rather watch D Wade, man, like on TV, man. Like D Wade is more like he's a better analyst than Paul Pierce. I just feel like Paul Pierce is a clown almost.
Yeah, and it's funny because he with TNT, so hey, Annie up, ESPN.
I seen some things today that they said that both of them was going through contract negotiations, D Wade and him. And you know what I'm saying? He redoing his he was trying to do his but I think he might have caved in. You know what I'm saying? I think the pressure might have got to him or something because they said D Wade has been getting some negotiations of doing something with ESPN. You know what I mean? Then like that's why if you pay attention to the last few weeks, like he was talking about everybody in the league scared of LeBron. Started talking about, he started saying certain words about D Wade. It's just been a lot of that going on. I hope he okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it was I had never really seen him do anything like that on Instagram. A lot of times when people start doing that, they got something going on. You know what I mean?
True. That's true. That's true right there. That's
we know by now. We know by now you can't be doing that type of stuff on Instagram, especially if everybody kind of know that now. Unless you selling, unless you kind of like selling something or something, not to really go that route. You know what I mean?
And he works for ESPN on top of that. So you already know with that, you really, and those type of infractions are like literally grounds for termination. That's why it's funny because I remember when when we woke up Saturday morning, everybody was like, "Yo, Paul Pierce wilding." I'm like, "What did he do?" I'm thinking he had another take like, "Oh, he better than Dwayne Wade." Remember when he said that? And I'm like, "Huh?" But like I thought he was gonna have I thought he had said a crazy take. And it's like, yo, this man had an Instagram live, and I was like, yo, this boy crazy. But yeah, like you said, but you do hope that it's that he's okay, like as far as mentally, because when you think about it, especially with his age being at 43, knowing better per se, so you're hoping that it's was this kind of a situation that happened in a somewhat of a a logical mind. So that is something that you definitely should consider with that. But yeah, man, but the way he's saying, he tweeted the other day saying, "Big things coming soon. Stay tuned. Make sure you smile." With the hashtag "Truth shall set you free." And I'm like,
Well,
what does that mean?
I mean, anytime they get fired, you necessarily nowadays, let me hire this, and that, and you just get your little you get you a podcast and set yourself up with some social media stuff and media. I get it. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he could be himself. Maybe now he could use this and be who he really want to be. You know what I'm saying? I still think that you can still do that and then do the other thing and then just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just looked a little like he wasn't on point. Let's just say that.
Yeah, definitely not. But shout out to Uncle P.
Uncle P,
right.
baby. Uncle
P. All right. He gonna be all right. From one social media drama to the other. So before we set this one up, it was funny because actually this story not aired, but it was reported right after we did the show last Tuesday. Like it was like real late Tuesday night when this story came up. That's how and first thing I was like, I was thinking to myself like, damn, like why this didn't come out like at 7:59 like yesterday. I mean, last week. So this whole Michael Rappaport versus Kevin Durant. So, these two guys, they were going back and forth. Actually, the DM thread started from December when Kevin Durant had that kind of weird interview on Inside the NBA. We kind of had that one word response, like, just being KD. So then, him and Michael Rappaport go back and forth. There was threats was exchanged. And I'll put it this way. This is the New York Times. This is a New York Post quote. This is not coming from me. So it was the threats included threats, misogynistic language, and cruelty and cruel remarks. So, fellas, your thoughts on this whole social media beef between Rappaport and KD? I'm gonna go with you first, Mal. What your thoughts?
I think it's corny. I think that I think it's extremely corny because first off, as a man, if I said something to disrespect you and we're doing it a certain way, maybe we need to have a phone call. You know what I mean? Because clearly, I watched today and I watched Michael Rappaport. It's like he's not even taking it kind of serious. Also, he kind of made it into a joke because no offense, I don't know what y'all think. I think he felt like he kind of played himself when he should have got in touch with him and had a conversation. But he put out the bag that they were supposed to do some business and supposed to do some skits. You understand what I'm saying? And then he was like, when I read it, I was reading, I was like, man, what's wrong with I was like, what's wrong with the rent? Then he said, man, you called my lawyer. You called your lawyer and tried to get me for defamation of character or some crazy mess. And I was like, so he did bring up his wife. And I said, well, why didn't he just, say, hey, get whoever and let's just have a sit down and have a conversation. Like, again, I'm going to say this again. I've been watching a lot of old stuff. And what I saw was a lot of celebrities used to have sit downs when they had an issue with one another. You know what I'm saying? And like now, like Michael Rappaport is not the Michael Rappaport I remember back in the day that played in these movies. You know what I mean? It seemed like now he's trying to be this social media personality. You know what I mean? And that's what people see. So I seen him talk trash about Trump and all these other people, right? But then now he said he gets it all the time. You really think Kevin Durant is like go and say, hey, meet me on this street. I spit in your face. But you said the same thing about Trump. You say the most craziest stuff, but you can't handle Kevin Durant. You really think Kevin Durant is going to spit in your face and meet you on the block and spit on your face? I lost a lot of respect for him, B. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just me personally.
I feel you. JB, your thoughts?
I kind of agree with Maui. I thought it was just really childish, man. Like, it's kind of like, I don't like what you did, so I'm going to expose you to the world, which is just like, I think that's beneath you being a grown man. I mean, like, right. And I'm going to go a step further because I don't know, man. I've kind of lost respect for Michael Rappaport anyway. Like, he's kind of, he used to be like, like you mentioned, he's turned more into like a social media personality. He used to be like, in comedic movies. I just think of him as a cornball almost. Like, what I'm going to say about Kevin Durant is just like, I think he needs to get off of social media, man. Like, I just really do, man. It's like almost every year something pops off. And like, look, I'm not even blaming him for this. I think some of the other stuff you definitely can blame him for, but like when we were talking about Paul Pierce, the optics, it just is a bad look for Kevin Durant that every year something like this happens with him on social media. This has been happening ever since, he left OKC to go to the Warriors. And it's kind of like, man, like, KD, just get off of social media and just focus on ball, man. Like, don't entertain some of these people. And, like, I just, me and my boy who I went to university, we were actually talking about KD this about a month ago. And just KD just comes off as a really unhappy person. Like, to me, like KD, we talk about LeBron being like the first, like, superstar of our generation. I think of KD almost, even though KD is within the same age group as us, I think of KD as almost as being a millennial. Like, he's on social media way too much. And because he's on social media, it leads to him being unhappy. So I just think for peace of mind and for him to actually be a happy player, I think that he just needs to get off of social media because, like, what's happening with KD, man, it kind of makes me sad, man. This dude has won 2 championships. He's won 2 Finals MVPs. He's been MVP. He's this critically acclaimed ball player. He's going to go down as a top 10 player of all time when it's all said and done or whatever. But, he's always in this drama on social media, and he just comes off as a very unhappy dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you said, it's multi-layered. Mike Rappaport, he shouldn't even disclose, like, screenshotted those DMs. Like you said, I'm gonna to your point, Mal, as a man, that's in-house. It's a DM for a reason. It's a direct message. It's a private message. That's not for some people for it to be screenshot. You, as like you said, as a man, if you had a problem to that point, let's talk each other on the phone. All we gotta do, hell, I don't even know. You might have a function where you call somebody on Instagram. I know you do it on Facebook, but hell, it's to a point where y'all just need to talk. And for him to, and then for Rappaport to kind of be a victim, like you talked about it earlier, as far as him being on Undisputed. I'm like, this. It makes it even more cornier because you, and one of the examples that he talked about how he's like an ally for everybody, and the whole, the Laura Ingraham situation with the shut up and dribble, and we know that Kevin Durant was in the car with Kerry Champion and LeBron James, so he kept on making that as an example, and I'm like, that was like 5 years ago. Like why are you bringing stuff up that like to that point? And then just the whole fact of, how Kevin Durant is anyway. He thin-skinned. Like, this dude man, I'm telling you, I guarantee you, if I create a Twitter account with 0 followers and I had an egg as emotion, and I said Kevin Durant is this and third, Kevin Durant probably would clap back. I don't know if it may be his burner or it be his personal with the with the green, not the green, but the blue check. He probably would clap back at me, and I guarantee. I'm like Charles Park. I guarantee if I had a burner account with 0 followers and an egg emotion and said, "KD, you're trash," or some of that nature, he would clap back. I have 0 followers. I have nothing. I am a fictitious Tittlewood account, and he would go ham on me. But that's just how Kevin Durant is, and it goes to your point too, JB, where he got to stay off of social media. Like and it's to a point where it's sad because somebody that, like you said, somebody that accomplished, that has done so much for the game, and you're worrying about people that like 12-year-old kids got something to say about you, or even like Michael Rappaport that's not even on your level, like to stoop to that point. And it's to a point where it's like, but Rappaport knew he was doing, because he know how triggering that is, because so it's he knew it. He knew that he was going to get to him, because because really what really started was the Barkley, the interview with that, and then Rappaport kept on egging on. Well, why you didn't say this? Why you didn't say that? You could. That's when you should have just said, if he just said this. It should have been dead at that point. But he knew, like he know how to poke the bear, like you said. Even your points were going back to when he was saying with Trump. He used to clap back at him and saying, "I'm gonna do this," and like had threats, like you said too. So what's gonna happen? Keep that same energy when somebody claps back at you. That's the thing. And then the whole thing. And I'm like, I'm kind of low key disappointed at Undisputed, and I understand they doing it for ratings, but to have him daring almost kind of. But he kind of, has a platform essentially to kind of make himself look like he's the victim in all this. He's the one that screenshotted the conversation, which that's another thing. You're a 50-year-old man. You shouldn't even be knowing how to screenshot stuff.
You're so
like I'm. Yo, like that's that's crazy. Like as a 50-year-old man, you need to be screenshotting a few things.
Yeah, that was a good shot. I didn't know you was gonna say that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It just makes no sense. Like, and that's the thing is, and he should know. And I don't care what level man you are. I don't care if you're an 18-year-old, just getting, starting to become yourself, being a man. As 2 men, you cannot do that type of stuff. That's just, and I, like you said, I don't want to put. It is. I do like JB's point. I do hold Kevin Durant in a different. I do give him a slice of the blame, but just for entertaining it. But Rappaport created this fire.
Oh no, I believe that some people that deal with social media, like they talk trash to one another, how they show love, and I believe that Kevin Durant thought that he could speak to him that way. You understand what I'm saying? He really thought that he could talk to him that way, because I've seen him. Well, I thought they like, I like Oprah's side. So him and Oprah's side is on Twitter just talking trash to one another, right? And then I saw Oprah's side in the crowd and said something to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant flicked him off, and that just they didn't know each other personally. They just know each other from Twitter. I just think that anyway, man. Bottom line is I will say this: 2 things, and I'm gonna let it go. All right, Michael Rappaport. I feel like if that was Magic Johnson, and they was playing around like that, he would have never done that. I feel like if it would have been an older athlete. That like he would not have played around like that way. Even if it was Chris Webber, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody like that, he would not have done it. It's a simple fact. It's these younger players. They don't have a certain amount of respect, And then as you being older than him, you should have got in touch with him and say, "Hey man, I know you see me playing like this, but I don't play bringing my daughter into that. I mean, bringing my wife into a situation like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I believe Kevin Durant would have. They might have even started a friendship because of that, because he would have respected him. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. You know what I mean?
But I think it speaks to like a deeper societal issue though with the whole victim thing. I think that like we're living in a society where people, when they're victims, and I think this is the problem. I think that when you always portray yourself as a victim, you have the inability to look at how you negatively contributed to a situation. And when you can't say, well, maybe you shouldn't have done this. If you wouldn't have done this, maybe you wouldn't have been the victim. You get called a victim blamer. But I definitely think Michael Rappaport is to blame in this situation. And then for him to go on Undisputed and portray himself as a victim, I think that's really fucked up right there. And I think I'm mad at Undisputed. I'm mad at the higher ups of Undisputed for even entertaining this and giving him a platform, which I think is fucked up. And, you know, like he screenshot all of this stuff. And it's kind of like the other thing I don't like about the situation either. Michael Rappaport really didn't give context to what actually happened. Like you're just sharing this stuff when Michael Rappaport could have said some foul shit to KD and KD just decided not to share it.
Or don't even have a thread of it.
And he maybe just deleted it. Yeah,
because he did not make it. He was playing. He was just throwing. He was just throwing that bull at him. You know what I'm saying? And seeing if Michael Rappaport was going to say something back.
He wanted attention. And then for me and what kills me about him, he's like, well, I didn't think it was going to go too far. Okay. You screenshotting a match between you and Kevin Durant, one of the most famous basketball players in the league. Like, you didn't think that was gonna get steam? Dude, like, do you understand how the internet works? Like, the most littlest things become viral. You didn't think that you just DMing, you know, Kevin Durant wasn't gonna garner viral like numbers? I'm like, you did that intentionally. It's funny because it almost kind of gives me those Instagram model type vibes where they be trying to out these players. You know, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be quiet because LaMelo watching potentially. So I'm gonna leave that alone. But anyway, LaMelo watching. I don't want to talk about his girl. But anyway, I digress. But some of that nature, and you know, and then that's what it kind of reminds me of, where essentially that you're just trying to out him for no reason, trying to play that victim. But it's lame and it's corny. But like you said, man, Kevin Durant, man, stay off of social media, delete all those burners. Like you said, this get ready, you know, win a championship and make Julius Randle cry, son cry all summer long.
I sent that to you.
Yeah,
I don't like them.
Bless his little heart.
Like who? I don't like him.
Bro,
I can't stand the Nets.
I think we all gonna be that way this summer. So chin up, little Julius. I think we all gonna feel the same way in the summer. So I think we're gonna be all crying, potentially saying we hate the Nets as well. But yeah, man. So fellas, let's talk a little NFL. Sam Darnold has been traded to the Carolina Panthers. So the Jets will receive a 6th-round pick this year. They'll also receive a 2nd and a 4th-round pick in next year's draft. So your thoughts on Sam Darnold headed to Charlotte? JB, your thoughts?
It's probably I have a couple of things, man. So I think it's probably for the best that Sam Darnold ended up leaving the Jets. I'm going to get back to the Jets later, but I actually like the move for Carolina. You get a quarterback that's a little more dynamic than Teddy Bridgewater. You know, that Carolina last year in the draft, they used all their picks on defense. So I think that this year they can address the offense and think that they should draft that tight end out of Florida with that number 8 pick. That's what I would do if I was them. Yeah, I would draft him. But like, you know, like I think the Panthers came out good, man. The Panthers gave up a number 4 this year. What was number 2?
So so it's a 6th round this year, and then they get it's a 2nd and a 4th next year.
Wow. So yeah, man. Like, I mean, you figured that Sam Darnold was like the third player pick, so that's not bad right there or whatever. So I expect. I just think that let's just talk about the Jets for a second, man. Like, if they they do a lot of things wrong, man. Like, you. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And it's kind of like you see them make the same mistakes over and over again. And like if you draft a quarterback, you need to hire a good coach. I didn't like the coach that they hired. Adam Gase, I think that he's gotten a lot of fanfare because that's Peyton Manning's boy right there. Peyton Manning basically, hey man, Peyton Manning, he gave a couple of really rousing speeches. Peyton Manning could be a politician, man. He got people fired up about Adam Gase, and Adam Gase has been very underwhelming as a coach, in my opinion. And, so I mean, one of the things that really bothered me about what happened with the Jets. So you started off 2019 0-5. You finished the year 7-4. So you finished the year 7-9. And what do you do in the offseason, man? The offseason, you let go of some of your weapons who actually helped your quarterback out. They let go of Robbie Anderson. Why did you let go of Robbie Anderson? Why? What was the purpose of you letting go of Robbie Anderson? And, now they're going to draft a kid from BYU. They're going to draft Zach Wilson. Do you honestly think with the way the Jets have been doing things for the last 15 years, do you really think that that Zach Wilson is going to be successful there? I don't think so. So, I mean, I think that Sam Darnold wins here, and I think that ultimately probably Zach Wilson, unless the Jets change the way they do things, Zach Wilson, we're probably going to be on this podcast 3 years from now talking about how the Jets are probably going to draft another quarterback in the top 3 or top 4 picks. And you can't keep on doing that, man. This is the reason why they're not a good franchise.
Yeah. Mal, what are your thoughts?
Oh, man, I wrote so much stuff down. But from a Carolina standpoint, from what I've seen, because he still got his rookie contract. He has a 5th-year option. So this year, with everything, it's like a $4.5 million. It's like $900,000, and then he get like a pre-season bonus or something like that. So he's coming off. Sam Darnold is coming off very, very cheap. It's next year that's going to be an issue. But I'm with the Jets. I mean, bottom line is Adam Gase. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. Ryan left. Look what happened. Look at him. Sam Darnold, his best receivers with the Panthers. And then you have an offensive coordinator that probably didn't like Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I mean? I wish Bridgewater would have been able to stay with New Orleans. But I think the offensive coordinator is going to do well with Sam Darnold. He's 23 years old, so he still got a lot of football there. And really, when you look at it, I think the Jets was like 0-10 without him or something like that. Something weird like that. But anyway, the Jets is basically going to do the same thing. They're going to draft a quarterback, and they're going to push the quarterback to start. And, I was watching something today, and the guy kept saying all the top MVPs, a lot of the top quarterbacks, basically they made them wait. They held them for some weeks before they was able to get down there to be able to settle in. And I don't think it just looked like the Jets haven't learned that they still going through the same thing. You know what I mean? I know they have, I'm happy JB's on here because with all these picks, I haven't understood the NFL science of the draft. I haven't got it understanding yet. They got all these picks. Do you think these picks is going to help Zach out when they draft him?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, at some point. I mean, it just depends on who they draft, and because who knows how that's because that second pick, the second round pick next year could potentially have, you could potentially get a first round talent. It just depends on where Carolina's at that particular point. I do like it for Sam Darnold. I part of me was hoping they kept him, and to me, because my ideal situation, I was even saying this last year, because my plan for them was to get Penei Sewell and team him up with our 15 South Oak brethren, Mekhi Becton, and kind of may have this type of just, generational talent on both ends of the line to help Sam Darnold. And I do like what Sam Darnold going to Carolina. It's a fresh start for him. I'm very intrigued at what Joe Brady's going to do with him. With that offense, because he, obviously was the quarterback what was he? I think he was quarterback coach at LSU with
LSU,
Joe Burrow. So
Yeah.
you see what he did. He turned pretty much Dwayne Haskins back up into a Heisman Trophy winning, probably one of the most prolific seasons that we've had in college football. Then he teamed up with Robbie Anderson again, so that's another great thing to have, Robbie Anderson. And then, like you said, just imagine, then even your point, JB, you get him, Christian McCaffrey, and then Kyle Pitts. Oh my God. Like he's gonna be in heaven. He's never been so good.
And he'll have DJ Moore too. So I mean, they'll have some some weapons. Because I thought last year the biggest issue with them was really not their defense, was just the fact that they didn't have an explosive offense and they struggled scoring in the red zone. Was their biggest problem last year. And I think that Carolina ought to be pretty good. Yeah, I think we figure, and I know we're a ways away from talking about football preview, but you figured that probably New Orleans is going to take a step back next year with all the salary cap problems that they have. And I think that Carolina, I think that if you look for a team to maybe rise up and maybe make the playoffs, you maybe will look at Carolina maybe making the playoffs next year. I'm out of that division, maybe finishing the second behind Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I do, and definitely. And a part of me, you're hoping that the Jets going to turn the corner. I mean, definitely. With the coach with Salah there, definitely he's one that's very well respected in NFL circles. Then also they got our guy Joe Douglas, the pride of Mechanicsville High School, as their general manager. So he's been wheeling and dealing as of late. So you're hoping that they can turn it around, but it does kind of, hopefully this new regime will do it. But like you said, Zach Wilson, I mean, a part of me is like to me, I say you already had your quarterback in Sam Darnold. Like it's just, he just went through some bad times with Adam Gates. And almost, I think it was Marcus Spears said he could be probably, Sam Darnold could probably be the next Ryan Tannehill as far as escaping from the Adam Gase and having a very successful career as Ryan Tannehill is doing in Tennessee. But I mean, great move for both. I think with the Jets, what they're doing, I'm hoping that they get it together, especially because we need our 15 South Oak brethren to he needs somebody to protect. He needs to have a legitimate quarterback to get in the mud, to get in the trenches with. So hopefully Zach Wilson pans out for him, and if not, hey, the 2020, if this doesn't work out, the beauty thing about it is if he doesn't work out in the short leash, could they draft another quarterback next year? I mean, that's how crazy it sounds, but because the part of me was like, this was my Jets plan in the beginning. So if Sam Darnold didn't work out because he's on his option year, you still get Sewell. You get Sewell with that pick, and then to me, my biggest thing is you go and grab, if you don't in 2022, you grab the 2021 Heisman Trophy winner from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. That is Sam Howell. You grab him. So to me, that was my plan for the Jets, my 2-year plan for the Jets. If Sam Darnold didn't work out in 2021, you just scrap it, and then you grab that precocious quarterback from the University of North Carolina, the future 2021 Heisman Trophy winner. But I digress.
Oh my God!
So in December, I don't want nobody to be like, oh, everybody's been on the Sam Howell train. I've been on the Sam Howell train for almost 3 years now. So everybody's been warned. So in December when this happens, I've been saying this. So fellas, let's put a ball in this week's Couch Coach Live, man. Who gets this week's game ball?
Ooh. So I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna give 2 game balls. I'm gonna give game ball out to Baylor basketball. 2003, man, things were looking rough for them. I mean, you had the big scandal, and they had to build the program back up. And I mean, for them to win the national championship last night, that was great for them. Happy for their coach too, because their coach had some really hard times his first few years. He didn't have that many scholarships to give out, and they had some really bad teams his first few years there. So a shout out to Baylor basketball, and I'm gonna give my game ball I'm gonna give it to Roy Williams, man. Great career. I mean, I think that he was a bit underappreciated, not by UCP, but by a lot of other Carolina basketball fans. I think that he did a great job on Carolina. Great run, man. 3 national championships, man. He won 400 games with Kansas, and he won 400 games with UNC, man. Great coach, man, and he'll definitely be missed.
Yeah. JB, I'm not Maui. Your game ball.
Yeah, my game ball is going to Dallas, Texas own Dookie, Hall of Famer, and co-owner of Atlanta Hawks, go by the name of Grant Hill, who is actually to replace, who's going to become the director of manager for Team USA. It's a big thing for him. I want to say congratulations. You know, it's been in sports, man, especially in basketball, it's been a lot of big moves for, you know what I mean? I was at the post office in Chester today, and I was like, man, we are taking over. it was crazy, bro. But yeah, congratulations to Grant Hill, man. If there ever was a career, boy, woo, have you seen his wife? Oh my, but anyway.
I tell you,
yeah, like, congratulations, man.
Yeah, man, definitely huge shout out to Grant Hill, man. I'm telling you, that dude, I swear, he a vampire. Yeah. He go out there and play like he like 92 Duke. He looked the same from 92.
Yeah, he makes me want to go buy some Beijing. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Go ahead.
He made me want to drink water. Every time I think about a soda or something, I'm drinking water. Like Grant Hill, a vampire. Like we had the pizza commercials, I was like, man, Grant Hill is not eating pizza. Look the way that man look like he's 25 years old, almost 50 years old, looking like he half his age. He ain't eat no Pizza Hut, so don't order none.
Man, congrats to him, man. I read that. I read up on it, and I was like, man, that's a big achievement. And I didn't even know he was co-owner of the Atlanta Hawks. That's big, man. That's big.
Yeah, definitely. And also my game ball actually goes to Scott Drew as well. Yeah, and it's funny because you know, me and JB were the same age. We remember that Baylor situation with all the situation that happened, and then the walk-ons. Half the team was walk-ons, and like you said, 18 years ago, who would have thought like Baylor would actually win a national championship? Because at that point, if you also remember 2003, well, did we even think that they were even going to have a program after what transpired there? I mean, it was almost, I thought it was going to be like a death penalty type of situation where that team, that team essentially was going to be extinct. All that stuff that went down at Baylor. So, and for them, even 18 years later, for him to kind of even 18 years later, but this team has been successful for a good while. I think even in his tenure, he's had 12, 20 win seasons. Yeah. And then like now just winning that championship, it definitely puts him on on a great group of coaches that have won a national championship. And definitely huge shout out to our guy Scott Drew. Shout out to his brother Bryce, who had a cup of coffee in Chicago. Shout out to little Bryce. Had a little cup of coffee in Chicago. It's all love. But yeah, man. So final thoughts, fellas, before we head on out.
You want it, JB?
Not much, man. It was a great show, man. It was good talking to you guys again. Waiting for the playoffs to start. We still like our month and about 4 or 5 weeks away from that starting up. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the rest of the regular season.
Right.
Yeah.
My final thoughts. Great show, man. I've been watching some cool things, and I just wanted to put that out there. I've some personal stuff and dealing with people, and they got a lot of children as athletes. So a lot of time parents and their kids have disconnection. I'm watching this Last Chance U basketball on Netflix.
Oh, me too.
Oh man, it's fire, bro. Like it's fire. You know what I'm saying? And I'm also watching on The Moment of Truth about the investigation of James Jordan. It's very insightful, man. It's a lot of information that like I was talking to my dad about it, and I was like, Dad, they didn't find him in the trunk of the car. They found him somewhere else. And it's just very interesting. I wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, great show, man.
Yeah, most definitely. Great show, fellas. And so great show once again. Do a little church announcements. First off, definitely huge shout out to our first guest. We had got Josh, and I'll be on his show on Friday, 1:00. So check him out. I'll be on there. Also, check me out on Mondays, NBA Carousel, where I'll be covering my weekly segment with covering the LA Clippers. Also, follow the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on the Couch Coach Live. And also, don't forget to head over to manscaped.com. Use our promo code OTBN where you get your 20% off and free shipping. Once again, go to manscaped.com. Hit our promo code OTBN. You get 20% off and free shipping. So for the fellas, man, this has been another Couch Coach Live, man. We will catch you guys next week.
You're welcome.